Welcome to Big Money Monday on the Savvy Radio Show. Get ready, you are about to get paid. This show is designed to increase your financial intelligence every Monday.
Okay, friends, party, people, savvy investors, rookies, newbies, veterans, you're in for a super duper treat. I got the celebrity. Yeah, celebrity's back. Pat Poynton is in the house, and private money is burning a hole in someone else's pocket. It needs to be in my pocket to buy deals. And Pat and I have just been rubbing elbows at events, and he has such a passion to educate people. And we just collaborated, and I'm trying to make sense of this private money deal. So Pat committed, and I appreciate him so much. We're going to lay out 5 podcasts, 5 weeks. I'm going to call it the Magic Monday to give you some love. If you don't know, listen to Pat. He's been on the show many times, most than anyone else. He ran a radio show called Real Estate Magic for 12 years. His claim to fame and is just his passion to help people. He's been in real estate since he was in the womb. His parents, family, mortgage broker, and all that stuff will be revealed. We don't want to waste too much time on that because you need to go back to the other podcasts and listen to those. But we're going to break off 5 new episodes coming up, so be ready. Every Monday, Magic Monday. We're pausing on Big Money Monday. We're going to go Magic Monday with Pat, which is awesome. And the 5 subjects that we're going to cover is prospecting, credibility, lingo, numbers, calculations. Number 4, objections and presentation. So enough of that. Hey, Pat.
Sir.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, bud, for coming out. And I know you're a busy man.
I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, I mean, you're really good at it too. And just as soon as you walked into the office, you were already like educating this other guy in the office. I'm like, dude, don't get tired. don't get worn out talking.
It comes natural.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a talker too. So, all right, so prospecting. So let's just define what prospecting is. Basically, you're searching and looking for something. And what is that? And what's our subject today?
Well, today is private money.
Money.
Yeah.
Right. We're talking about money. We're about money, about making money, raising money, even lending money. Now, I'm going to catch you off guard a couple times because this is unrehearsed, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
So have you ever loaned money out?
No.
So you've only received, and you've
right. I've had people want me to, but I don't do it.
Sure. And we talked off the air about brokering that money out, which is kind of on the edge of. So, and explain what you were saying earlier. You were saying like you get into FCC rules if you loan out money. You
could get into state mortgage licensing laws, and you could also get into possibly SEC or federal lending laws if you were to do business with somebody out of state and then turn around and loan their money to somebody in state and take a fee for being the broker or middleman. Basically,
yeah, middleman. Okay. Which just sounds so great because, as I dig into this private money, and I'm new, and I just want to be straight out, but I do have a applause of myself. I just loaned someone money out of my IRA.
Yes.
So that has been something that I have been trying, and it was very easy.
Yes, there's nothing to it.
It was just intimidating because it's never been done before in my world. And I wanted to get on the radio show today to say, hey, I have borrowed money, private money, I have loaned private money, and I have loaned money out of my IRA. And I think I'm still new to the game. I don't understand a lot of the things, and that's why I'm fortunate and just honored to know you and for you to come out and do it. So, prospecting. Now, how do you do it? Like, is it a sales pitch? Is it a business card? I mean, how can you remember back? I mean, now let's just get a little bit more background. You've raised almost over $6 million over. So how long of the time period?
A 10 or 12 year period.
So you've been doing it for 10
and so years maybe.
And then when you did it, it was foreign language.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like now you just Google up the word private money.
And you got all kinds of people telling you their opinions. Sure. When I did it, there was nobody that knew how to do it, basically.
Right. And the IRA equity trust was just coming up because that's in the 80s. It
wasn't even equity trust. It was a company called Mid-Ohio Savings Bank, which later became Equity Trust.
Cool. Wow, all right.
And that goes back to, 1999 maybe.
Right. I can't remember the exact date when the self-directed IRA came out and, it's socially accepted. Of course, it's still not today.
It was about 2005, if I recall. But the thing was that we were doing it for a long time before that. We just weren't trying to educate the world. We were just trying to do our own real estate transactions.
For yourself, yeah, of course, obviously. All right, so prospecting, how do you come across someone, and how do you, I guess what I'd say, convince them, sell them to invest in you? I mean, I know that what's your train of thinking on that?
Well, you basically need to become a human prospecting machine, in that everybody you meet is a potential investor until you determine that they're not. And so I never went anywhere but when I didn't have either a business card that had on the back of it how to explain a little bit about what I was looking for. And later I went and still use a threefold brochure that I print up at home or in my office that really outlines what we do and what we have been doing, and I hand them out like business cards. I've handed out a number of them at your luncheons here, and I'm temporarily out because people took them. I'm sure they're going to copy them or plagiarize them or whatever, and I don't care. That's when I brought them.
Or let me know if someone says, hey, I'm ready to loan you money. Has people approached you? I mean, because
Well, I have people that usually know somebody that has already loaned me money approach me frequently.
So you're fortunate in that realm.
It's usually a family member or a close personal acquaintance of somebody who says, that John and Mary Doe have been doing business with you. They told me how much they like it and how well they've done. I have whatever, $50,000 or whatever I'd like to consider doing what you do, and I'd like to know more about it.
Okay, so what's the upside for someone? They've never heard of private money before, and you know that they're a doctor. Like I was on vacation, and I ran into an anesthesia doc on the beach, and he asked me what I do, and I said I'm a real estate investor. I buy and hold. I do some flips, and he was like, "Man, I could tell." He didn't come out and say this exactly, but our conversation led to, I have money. I'm not getting a return in the stock market, and what do you say to that type of person? How do I reel that one in?
Well, I normally say, I know that probably a doctor. Let's take a doctor.
Because this guy's a doctor for real. He's an anesthesia doc. He has money.
They get beat on all the time by somebody wanting to invest their money. I mean, everybody knows they make a lot of money. Everybody knows they're very busy in their profession. And so every money manager, every stockbroker, every banker in the world has got some idea that he'd like them to do.
Sure.
Whether it's CDs or insurance and annuities or something. Everybody's beating on
Good perspective.
So I say, well, I usually say, well, I don't generally talk to doctors. And I say, that's what I say right to them. I don't generally talk to doctors because I know you got your defenses up, and that's fine. And if I were a doctor, I'd have my defenses up too. What I would ask you is, do you have a hard asset? No. What you have is paper. I don't care what it is, it's paper. If it's stock, if it's an annuity, if it's a CD or whatever, it's paper.
Ooh.
It's some fancy version of paper. And one reason they look so beautiful is because they aren't anything but paper and ink.
I mean, already, we're in this deal 7 minutes. We may have been talking for 3 minutes, and I just got goosebumps. We got a hard asset. That's my first sale.
That's absolutely it.
It's tangible. It's collateralized. You can drive by. You can urinate on it for all I care.
Yeah, you can move in it if you wanted to, or sell it, or lease it, or
keep
do
going. All right,
to.
let's go. Let's keep going.
So I ask them, the difference in what I do and what you're used to is those are soft assets. They're stocks, they're bonds, or whatever. And this is real estate is a hard asset. You get a first mortgage, and very important that you understand this is a first lien on this particular piece of property. Nobody ever will have a better lien than you do on this piece of property. And it's just safer than any other investment. And now the reason that you haven't ever been exposed to this is there's no money in it for stockbrokers. There's no money in it for the banker. There's no money in it for any of the financial people in the form of commissions or anything like that. If you deal, you deal directly with me. So there's just you and me, and there's no way for those guys to make any money. Hence, they're not out there telling you to do this.
And that is definitely an approach that I consider in my mind all the time. Look, they have no incentive for you to buy real estate.
None at all.
I know a gal that has a bunch of money in cash in some fund somewhere. And she got into real estate. I've been helping her, raising her up. She's been buying houses, and she was tight on a house. And she's like, "Man, I got to call my broker and get permission to withdraw this money.
And he won't want her to do that.
Right,
I can tell you.
And I told her right out the gate, he has no incentive. He gets incentive if you keep your money in there. And I pre-told her, I was like, look, girl, he's going to tell you not to do it.
Oh, yeah.
It's unsafe. And, I'm doing a huge deal right now. And someone said this, and it's a risk-full deal. And they said this to me. This guy, he's in real estate. Are you worried about a downturn? Yeah, there's a downturn everywhere.
Well, but I'm not as worried about a downturn when I have a direct lien on a hard asset as I am when I have a piece of paper and the company that issued that paper takes a downturn.
And you can't control the guy's having an affair with somebody, and all of a sudden that whole Enron stock is nowhere to be found.
Well,
and the real estate, at least you could disassemble it and sell the light fixtures for all I care.
A huge payout, $25 million or something, to one of the newscaster ladies just last week on one of the major networks because somebody there had some sort of sexual harassment suit. You can't pull $25 million out of any company without the company feeling it.
True.
So my point is, I don't care if you had their stock or you didn't. That company's going to have some black eye for a while. Sure. Regardless of right or wrong. You don't know the man that's accused. You don't know the lady that accused him. You don't know anything about it. You're just along for the ride with your money. Now, in this case, you can go out and with me or without me and look at this property we're discussing. You can touch it. You can kick it. You can ask the neighbors what they think. You can bring your mother-in-law over and ask her what she thinks. You can ask anybody you want to about a house because everybody lives in one.
Yeah. So you meet this doctor, you're hanging out with them. So I guess your first thing that you do is that you visually try to show them what you do.
Yes, I try to get them on the idea that we're talking about a hard asset as opposed to a soft asset. And I will, in my kit of stuff, we're getting ahead of ourselves a little, but I carry a prospectus from a well-known stock. And I say, if you can read this and tell me what you've read, you will be the first person I've ever met who could.
No one reads those.
And if you did, on one page they tell you one thing, and 5 pages later they tell you something different. And they've got enough caveats in there.
Or disclaimers.
That's what I mean, caveats, disclaimers to cover them for everything. Or
you can't guarantee any returns on investments.
This is a picture of a house. I bought this house for $35,000. This is a picture of this house when I sold it for $75,000, and here's a copy of the check. Now, it's not very fancy, and it's not written in a booklet form or anything, but if you and I'd like to drive over and look at this house, you'll see it exist, and you can see the documents, and you can see I bought it for one price, I sold it for another. You had a mortgage on it for the $40,000, you saw me sell it for $75,000. If I'd have defaulted, you'd have owned it. That's the difference with a hard asset. And you could have sold it for $75,000. Right. No way you're going to lose money. And then I just walk away and leave them, and I said, think about this. And I hand them that little 3-fold-out brochure thing. And I said, we'll talk later. And then let me take you and show you some properties.
Okay. Well, I just want to give you confirmation or affirmation on that. I was getting underwritten by a pretty substantial loan on a small-town bank, and they drove up, and they wanted to meet me. They wanted to see my facility. And I thought that was interesting. And then they're like, hey, let's go look at some properties. And they drove to 3 to 5 properties with me. I drove with them, and we chatted and that they were doing their underwriting. Mm-hmm. And now it's infinite amount of finances the relationship that I have with them. All right. So I just want to affirm, if you can get someone in front of a piece of paper of before and after, or even physically get them to a property, I think you'll be set free in raising private money. All right. So I love your comparison, Pat, on hard asset versus soft asset. That's just, that blew my mind. I've been doing so much research. I don't even think that. Here's another thing that I do, and I just wanted your thoughts on this. I compare it to the bank. I compare you loaning me money compared to that CD. And I find a lot of that online. I read a lot about the private money. I read a lot about, you're getting a return for your investment. You're getting a return. You're getting, you're only getting 2 points or 1% in your CD. You may or may not get 8% in the stock market if you hold on for 30 years, which is just BS. But with me, you can get 8 to 10. Do you use that analogy, or do you use that comparison?
I have used it at times. What I normally say to somebody is, the bank is loaning out your CD. They're paying you, say, 1%. They're loaning it out to somebody like me for 6, 7. They're keeping the difference.
I love that.
That's what banks do. What I'm offering you is an opportunity to be the bank and have all that difference in your account.
Dude, you are on freaking
That's it.
fire today.
That's it. Simple
I mean,
as that.
we're going to have to start doing this early like this.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's true. You just demystified. Look, this is the banks are making this money by
Sure.
borrowing from the Fed. They don't know that. It's the same concept.
Well,
and
yeah,
they're
they're
loaning
borrowing from you when you put your money in there as a
CD.
401k or
And
an
they're-
IRA.
Yeah, right.
It's just-
That's what I meant to say. Yes, I agree. Okay, I love that. Okay, here's another thing. Okay, so this is I'm not going to get the cat out of the bag, but I do have this question. When you got a guy or a gal that's possibly going to loan you money, private money, do you use that money for a flip? Because you just mentioned you bought it for $35 and sold it. Or do you use private money for hold? And of course, I know my answer. I'm just curious what's your...
Well, I do more flips if the market will bear them.
Okay.
I will be perfectly candid with you. I know there's great reasons to own rental property. I hate it.
A lot of work.
I hate it.
It's a lot of work.
Just does not suit me. So what I do is when the market turns down, I try to keep on doing rehabs and rent them until the market turns up. And then that year I'm able to get rid of 20 properties instead of 10 because I had 10 in inventory plus the 10 I tried to do that year. You see,
Right.
So I just it's kind of like seed time and harvest. I just keep trying to pack them away and rent them until the market is right to sell them.
Okay, so it's a hold play, but with the end game.
Well, the end game is to sell them all.
So, but when
for
you're
me.
when you're prospecting for this money, what timetable do you tell them?
5 years.
So you want them to hold out for 5 years?
I don't take anybody for less.
Wow. Are you paying PITI on the payment? Are you doing interest only? What are you?
I have done them in different ways. For instance, if I know it's going to be a pretty fast short-term flip, I will probably do just interest only. If it's something I think I may have to hold for 2 to 5 years, then I will try to do a fully amortizing loan with a balloon. In other words, I may do a 15 or a 30-year AM with a 5-year balloon.
Okay.
We'll get into that in the next stage when we get into calculating.
No.
But the truth is, I normally want it to build some equity, but mostly what I want it to do is cash flow during the time I'm going to have to hold it.
All right. So, I mean, for me, you're acquiring an asset with no money down.
Absolutely.
Is the ultimate cherry. Another cherry would be owner financed. You know, basically you're acquiring that asset and that person's the bank. I would assume that's what you want to do in private money.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. I normally get to set the value
Of the asset?
of the asset. Now, I don't overvalue it or whatever, but I normally get to determine. And where if you go to the bank, they'll tell you, I'm going to loan you 65% or 70% or whatever their number is.
Sure. Each bank's different.
I frequently get 80% because I say so. Because I write all the rules. I write the note. I write the mortgage. I set the value. If you want a loan, I say, Stephen, this is what our plan is. This is how much I need. Are you in? Are you out?
Sure.
And if you say I'm out, I call the next guy on my list and I say, I got this product. And we go through it again till I get somebody who's in. Now, because of that, I'm normally talking 80% of the after repaired value, which is usually enough to acquire the property and do the repairs. And what's left out there is my profit.
Sure. All right. So let's dive into another quick question. What this person that's loaning you the money, the private lender, what do you call them? Do you call them an investor or do you call them a partner?
I call them an investor partner.
Investor partner.
That's what I refer to them as.
Wow, you're just savvy. So you
that's-
just put the two words together.
Yeah, that's just what I call them.
Well, I kind of use it interchangeable. Because I've came from a horrible background, so the word investor is like scary, powerful, but the word partner is softer, and we're a team, and let's do this together.
Well, but on the converse side of that is the idea that there's a certain group of people that like all the power they can get.
And that's
And
what
I
we're
have people that have money are tend to be in that group.
no.
And the bank was an investor. The IBM or somebody is an investor. And now John and Mary Doe are investors.
And it makes them feel good
Yes.
that they're a part of this successful
Yes.
track record of.
It's a term of a way I stated. It's a term of success or of achievement.
All right, so now we're continuing on with Prospect. Man, that's only been 20 minutes, and I'm telling you, there's a book right there.
Yeah.
So good
There's a lot
stuff,
of stuff
Pat.
you
I
can
mean,
do that.
I'm
All kinds of ways you
I'm
can go
juiced
from
up.
here.
I'm juiced up that you're on it. All right, so let's talk about that. You led into the people that are pretty successful, what you said. I'm trying to translate what you said, that have money, pretty much have a strong personality.
It seems to be that's the case.
I mean, that's the truth. Now,
pretty much.
Now, a lot of the people that you've dealt with have been like family members of friends.
I have never borrowed from anybody in my family, ever. None of them.
Okay, well, friends of friends or whatever.
But there may be family members of an investor that I have already done some business with.
Sure.
I frequently have that.
Right. It's just like, hey, this guy's doing a good thing. You need
you're my brother-in-law. Why don't you invest your money here? I have that all the time.
Well, like, I'm helping a young investor, and he got some private money, and the gal that's loaning him money, if she doesn't have it, she said, my parents are loaning out. So this gal convinced her parents to use that.
And see, he could then be dealing directly with them or
with her. So she kind of walks them through it because
Right.
the parents trust her. And it's so funny. I ran into another investor, and he's going to be on the show pretty soon, Brian Nix, who's killing it. It's got like 60 houses, all private money. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if he went to the Pat Poynton freaking boot camp, but
No.
he should have been. But anyway, I sold him a couple of properties, and he wasn't around. He was, on vacation. And I'm talking to this gal, I'm like, what's your name? And she's like, so how'd you get this job working for this investor? Well, he had an ad on Craigslist, and I've been working for him. And I'm like, now I'm trying to get to her level, like, the Craigslist employee level. And I'm like, I'm this investor trying to sell his property because I got to get out. So I'm playing this card with her, and I start chatting with her back and forth. So, where does Brian get his money? And at first she was like, pause, like, I'm like, and so she didn't know how to respond because she didn't know if it was like a private situation. And I said, girl, I know him. I know he's private money. I know he has like investors. She's like, yes, my parents loan him money. He met this gal running an ad on Craigslist. I needed an assistant to help run my real estate business. This gal comes in, sees the return on investment. She drives around to all the 60 houses, leasing them out, messing around with them. And now she has her parents become a private lender for him.
Well, that's kind of how it works. That's when I said you go around telling everybody you meet about this great opportunity. And some of them have money, but most of them just maybe know somebody that has money or don't know anybody, but it lets you practice all the time, which is good. And it puts the word out because it's hard to tell who has money and who doesn't.
Sure, exactly, because you look at me, I'm ghetto.
Yeah.
I noticed you got a nice watch out today.
Would you like to hear the story of the watch?
No, we don't got time.
Yeah, got a
we
story.
got about 5 more minutes. We're going to cut these down short because we got more episodes that we got to rock out. Okay, so let's just get back to prospecting and personality. How do you handle the type A personality like I mean? Because I'm abrupt with you. My text message last week, maybe it was a little offensive. I'm like, Pat, and I'm like, I was like, man, I need to calm down. How do you deal with different types of personality? And I'm assuming people with money have a stronger personality.
Not always. A lot of them do. I don't have a problem with that because I stick to the facts. Now, like for instance, I had your attention when I talked about it being a hard asset.
Yes.
I would have just, if I were talking to you, I would have just explained all of the differences between what you're now in and what you could be in. And I would have stuck to the facts. And then I'd have got up and said, you're a smart man. You've made notes here. Call me if you think you're interested. I did just give you a very soft sell because I start pushing you, you're going to get very hostile in a hurry. But you're a pretty smart man. And when I point these logical steps out to you, you're capable of getting from point A to point B without me standing here trying to slide a contract over to you to sign. I mean, I don't need to do any of that.
Pat, I got to give, I'm not trying to be on their nuts. I'm just saying, dude, you are on fire. I mean, you're not articulating it like I would, but you're basically reading people's personalities.
Sure.
And you're mirroring them.
Yeah.
If they're fast, you're fast. If they're slow, they're slow. That's sales.
Absolutely. Everything is sales in the world. I mean, every social event in the world takes some kind of salesmanship, whether
Nothing
you realize
happens.
it or know it.
Right. All right, man. We're doing good. We got a couple more minutes here. How about this? Gender. Do you have more leeway with a lady versus a gentleman? At all this $6 million that you've raised, Who's the guy you've been, or the gal, majority of the time are you communicating with?
It's probably roughly 50-50, although I find that once the decision is made, you do more dealing with the lady if it's a couple than you do with the man, as a rule.
Okay.
She tends to handle the day-to-day
operations,
nuts and bolts.
Yeah, of the home.
But he may want to make the decision, or they may want to go and make it together, but when they come back, then you're usually dealing with her about what has to happen.
So, like, if you did a presentation, you're saying that it would be with the couple.
I wouldn't do it without them being together.
And I agree with that.
I think it's discourteous to the one that's not there.
And you have to repeat yourself.
or else you live or die by their ability to repeat what you said accurately to the other party who wasn't there.
Right.
I'd rather live or die by my ability to answer your questions and explain my product than your ability to do so, especially when you've never heard about this.
Sure, because they're gonna. It's like that game when you're a kid. You whisper in someone else's ear. By the end of the deal, you're 800 pounds. You know, because it's wrong information translated.
Exactly.
Okay, awesome. Well, we're going to wrap it up right here. That was prospecting. If you have any questions, let us know. Email us. Get onto the website, thesavvyradioshow.com. If you're lazy, which we all are, you can just click a button and record your question, and we'll receive it, and we would love to answer it on the next episode. Coming up next week, that's right, next week, we're going to talk about Credibility Kit. And Pat, are you going to reveal your brochure?
Yes, I guess.
Oh, don't be soft. You're on fire today. Well, I appreciate your time. I know you're extremely busy investor, and I'm just glad to call you my friend. Tune in next week to the Magic Monday with Pat Poynton, Steve Van Kallenberg, the Savvy Landlord, Private Money.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at SavvyRadioShow.com. Connect on Twitter @LandlordBook and always be buying assets.